Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Garth Batu. We warmly welcome the family of Private William Willis, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private William Willis. William Willis was born on the 30th of November 1897 in the Sydney suburb of Alexandria to George and Louisa Willis. William went to Capalaba State School in the outer suburbs of Brisbane. After the Willis family returned to Sydney, William worked as a carter, driving a horse-drawn two-wheeled carriage to transport goods, and assisted his older brother George, who had a barber shop. In May 1916, at the age of 18, William enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. Because of his young age, his parents signed a consent form. His brother George had signed up a fortnight earlier. In November, the brothers joined a group of reinforcements for the 1st Battalion on the troop ship Ceramic, bound for England. While training in England, Willis was hospitalised with the mumps. After recovering, he joined his battalion as it proceeded to France in February 1917. William Willis hadn't been in France long before he was detached for duty with the Assistant Provost Marshal, assisting the military police of the 1st Division with their duties. A few months later, William's brother George was wounded in action and was evacuated. George eventually returned to Australia and was later discharged. William rejoined the 1st Battalion in late May after it was involved in costly fighting at the Second Battle of Bullecourt. On the 21st of September, Willis was halfway house near Ypres when a German aeroplane passed overhead and dropped bombs. One of the bombs hit him, killing him instantly. He was buried nearby at Perth Cemetery. William Willis was 19 years old. On the 2nd anniversary of his death, his family still felt his loss, keenly inserting the following lines of verse in their local newspaper. Could I, his mother, have clasped his hand, the son I loved so well, or kissed his brow when death was near, and whispered my son farewell. I seemed to see his dear sweet face through a mist of anxious tears, but a mother's part is a broken heart and a burden of lonely years. William Willis' name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Willis, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we to the left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain had thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening.